UFOs may come from parallel worlds. This is what a former director of French intelligence claims. Thursday, April 16, 2020, for the first time, the former director of the French Foreign Intelligence Services DGSE, Alain Juliet, speaks without taboo on a topic that for many is still unknown: flying objects. With his vast experience in thinking outside the box, he advocates a realistic approach in order to solve a very important mystery, bypassing the dogmatic believers and the skeptical opponents of similar theories. Alain Juliet is one of the high-profile speakers who, among politicians, scientists, and military, contributes his opinion to a new documentary entitled OVNIs, une affaire d'État, that is, UFOs, an affair of the state, having to do, of course, with national security, directed by Dominique Filho. He says there's a term that is being repeated more and more often among experts in the field. It's the idea of non-human intelligence. This term is interesting because it does not disprove the extraterrestrial hypothesis, but includes other theories about the nature of phenomenon, sums up director Filho, who since childhood had an image of spectacular testimonies from relatives who had observed unexplained phenomena. The recording further strengthens his beliefs. The phenomenon has been felt. He was lucky enough to be able to film a meeting of Sigma 2 commissioners studying UFOs in a rigorous and scientific manner, such as with Senator Harry Reid on the origins of the U.S. Department of Defense ATIP research program, and all these interviews confirmed his intuitions. The succession of testimonies and analyzed UFOs showing one thing, that it is a matter of states, that is, national security. There are UFOs, at least as a study, but their nature remains unclear. Who's behind them and where are they from? And why are they here? Assumptions about the nature of these objects are not limited to extraterrestrial origin. Parallel worlds, time travelers, nothing can be ruled out. There is also a stylistic trend that explores the links between consciousness and the UFO effect, and that is one point we look at in the film, he says. He says, in the case of close encounters, the phenomenon seems to interact with the conscience of the witnesses. It's also the case with some U.S. Navy fighter pilots. When they observe these phenomena, these objects seem to predict the reactions of the pilots as if they could read their minds. Now, we shouldn't be shocked. Even ancient Greek texts talk about the Argonauts, and that the Argonaut ship was able to read the minds of the people in the ship. And the ship told the others that Hercules had to be disbarred, taken off the ship, because the computer of the ship could not stand reading Hercules' thoughts. So this is very strange to be recorded in ancient Greek legends, mythology, whatever you want to call it, concerning the Trojan War and the Argonauts and their ship, which many believe was actually a spacecraft. Now, as usual, the UFO issue has a long way to go, but it can be a less dangerous journey if properly investigated. In any case, this is the belief of Julien Juliet, the former intelligence minister of France, the former intelligence agent who appears in the documentary and from where we share the interview conducted by Paris Match. Although he does not declare himself a UFO enthusiast, he finds the phenomenon quite interesting. And among other things, this is what he states. We should not say that it is nonsense, but we simply recognize that there are things that escape us. It's obvious that these machines or these appearances do not work according to the laws of our Earth, and in particular that they are not subject to gravity. The question that arises is, has a country developed a system that allows gravity to escape? 20 years ago, I would have answered, why not? But today, if a country in the world had made such a discovery, we would know. No progress of this magnitude can be kept secret. It's impossible, he said. It seems incomprehensible to us, but from there we can go very far to the possible existence of parallel worlds. By comparison, a fly with its multifaceted eyes can see dimensions on there other than our own, even though it lives in our world. So maybe there are things that exist in our universe, but that we cannot see with normal times because they are not in our field of vision. And this is true exactly with the spiritual world and angels. Okay, I've said many times that in our little church, we had a little baptism of a young boy, 11 years old, and I was taking, we didn't have a photographer, they were poor, so I was taking videos and pictures, and even though we could not see this with our eyes, we saw what was in the screen of the viewer of the camera. It was an angel of uncreated light standing next to the priest, listening to every single word the priest was saying during the exorcism prayer before the baptism. And the angel was beside the priest, looking at the boy with his hands across his torso. And he was beautiful. He was beautiful. Of course, they don't have wings. He had long hair down to his shoulders. And these are obviously, and I confessed this to my father confessor. He said, yes, they are there, but we can't always see them with our naked eye unless God grants it. But they are next to us. We just can't see them. The camera picks up frequencies that we can't see, and that's why we saw it on the viewer of the camera. But I wasn't able to take a picture because the button was so tiny, my thumb wasn't able to print it. Anyway, there are other dimensions that are next to us. But let's go back to this. It seems incomprehensible, but from there we can go very far to the possible existence of parallel worlds. By comparison, a fly can see multi-faceted eyes, can see dimensions that we can't. So maybe there are things that exist in our universe, but we cannot see at normal times because they are not in our field of vision. But maybe from time to time something happens, like a phenomenon that goes beyond our perception before it disappears. I'm not talking about little green people. I have the impression that I follow the same approach as some scientists and astronomers who simply say to themselves, something is missing. And I've translated this for you from a Greek article. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.